Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be for the INFPs. Why you're struggling and how you're going to fix it. So if you are new to this series, this is where I break down each MBTI type. What are their common or their biggest struggles that is linked to their cognitive functions, and what are some practical ways for them to overcome it. So if you haven't checked out the others, I've done one for INTJs, INFJs. So another idealistic type, deep feeling and quietly powerful. This is behind the scene. INFJs compared to INFPs are more in the front, progressive type. But for INFPs, they are more behind the scenes. They don't really want people to know that they are there, but they want to do meaningful work. They are also change agents, advocates. They are the reason people believe in ideals, the change, and somebody that is famous, which is Robert Greene, that I look up to, the person that came up with The Laws of Human Nature, a lot of amazing books by Robert Greene. He's all about studying people, and that is when I think INFPs have a lot to give in the world. But let's uncover some of their greatest struggles. And if you know someone who's an INFP, maybe this video is worth watching as well, because this is how you're going to understand them and maybe support them on a deeper level. INFPs are driven by introverted feeling, which is all about their authenticity. They're always seeking for their truth. The one who sees beauty when a lot of people overlook it. And that's why they're one of the most misunderstood types, very similarly to INFJ. INFPs always want to feel more, they want to live more meaningfully. Everything is about their values, their alignment with their purpose. And I guess INFPs get whacked a lot on the forums because they are very much feeling focused, introverted feeling. So it can appear like they're super selfish and indifferent, and a lot of people can't relate to them. But there's a reason why they're doing all of this. But there are also many struggles to it. Some of the common things that INFPs would say to themselves would be, I'll start when I'm inspired. That's why they're like procrastinator. Another procrastinator award compared to INFJ, INTJs. Or I'll just need more time to feel ready. They are never really going to do things that they're not feeling ready about. It's not about thinking that they're ready, it's more about feeling that they're ready, which is harder to discern. And they are totally conflict avoidant, which is not entirely good for someone that also cares about ideals, progression, wanting to live to their values and their purpose. At the end of the day, these are still goals, but if you are conflict avoidant, it's not really going to get you anywhere too. So basically all of this sums up to the reason number one. You are always waiting for the perfect moment before you act. You often get stuck waiting for the perfect moment that never really comes. So you're always like running in that same circle and not really going anywhere, and then you resent that other people are getting what they want, and it's just this vicious cycle. And because of FI, introverted feeling, your first function, it seeks internal alignment. So a lot of things that you do, you're checking with your FI. Do I feel good about this? But your parent function, which is extroverted intuition, is about exploration. So for healthy INFPs, they can tap into both of that and to support each other, meaning I check with my feelings, my values, and I explore ways to fulfill that. And then I don't let my insecurity or my inferior function be hidden, and I will tap into it, which is extroverted thinking about getting things done before it's perfect. That's when you get the symphony of INFPs making a change or taking the action. But because if they are in the loop of feeling, exploring, they're just daydreaming. So INFP, if you are thinking about your plans and thinking about your ideas and all the different possibilities that you can take, and that's way more than you taking action, you know that you're in the loop. And then when you suddenly abandon projects that suddenly don't feel right because somebody came to you with something that you're uncomfortable with, and then you immediately like, no, it doesn't align with my FI. That means that you totally just disregarded your exploration function, which is essentially your parent function, NE. You are meant to explore, and then when you lose out to your insecurity, which is extroverted thinking, that's when you're not going to do it at all, and you will just give up when things get tough or uncertainty arise. And then, of course, you delay hard conversation or decisions, and you're just hoping for a sign that it's going to make you feel good about it. So here's how to fix it. Action creates alignment, not the other way around. Alignment is planning. Planning means you need to take control of everything. You are delusional because you can never take control of everything. You can plan, but plan can change. Plan has to change when certain situations change. And so, change equals to progression. Change equals to you adapting and taking action. You may feel good one day and you feel shitty the other day. At the end of the day, if you're just following your feeling, nothing will ever get done. It's not always leaning into their feeling. Now, I'm not saying that feelings are not important, but you're overvaluing your FI in this situation, especially when it's overdone. So, action creates alignment, not the other way around. And sometimes when you are too involved with your parent function, extroverted intuition, because of all the possibilities, it's like the shiny object syndrome, this, that, this, and it's so many options. You get this paralysis of options and you end up just circling yourself. Sometimes it's just taking one direction and then see what happens and then act on it. It's better for it to be messy than to show people that I'm just a coward waiting for things to be perfect so that I can make the right step, so that no failure can ever happen, which is totally delusional. I learned a lot from you valuing your FI, because sometimes certain MBTI types neglect their FI to the point that they are like assholes, which I totally agree. And they don't come off authentic, they don't do things that is with a great sense of purpose, their why is not strong. But when you're overdoing FI, you really look like someone that is immature. At the end of the day, whether you do or not do it, people will still judge you. So I think it's better to just do it, make the mistake, because making a mistake is going to get you closer to your goals. So it's a matter of you thinking about who's that person that you want to be. You want to be perceived as a person that waits for things to be perfect for you, and then appearing super fragile and perfectionistic, but no actions is taken. Or you want to be the person that is courageous enough to just take action when moments are not perfect, and then accountable enough, wise enough to move on and show progress. Reason number 2, you take things too personally. Because you care deeply, right? Let's be real, you have extroverted feeling in your nemesis function. Well, you care about your feelings and you do get paranoid about how others feel about you. And you do care what people think of you and how people feel about you. But here's the truth, sometimes you internalize things that has nothing to do with you. So when you hear someone having a cold tone with you, you assume that they are upset with you. Let's say you get a vague message reply from someone and they used to not give you a vague reply. You read between the lines and then you start spiraling. It's pretty exhausting. This is something that INFJs do as well, the overanalyzing people. Because you're always trying to decode meanings and not take it for what it is, and not really checking the facts, and you're just basing it off emotion. It's not really a legit source for you to conclude. So this is all about, similarly to INFJs, this is when you have empathy without any boundaries, and then it becomes like self-harm. I makes you internally reflective, meaning you are constantly checking about how you feel about things, but without conscious use of your extroverted thinking, which is your inferior function. You don't externalize and verify your interpretation. This is when you tend to feel like, I think this person hates me. Actually, it's more of, I feel like this person hates me, but I have no concrete evidence to prove that this person actually hates me. This is when you're only using your FI and not your TE, when your TE is there for you to be used. So be objective and not just entirely subjective. Everything is not up to you to interpret. But INFPs, I must say that, yes, you can be right in many times, but you're not a mind reader. It's always best to verify. So when you are overfeeling, overthinking, and very critical about how other people are treating you or feeling about you, maybe you should ask yourself some of these reflective questions. What evidence do I actually have, and is it objective? Did I just come up with this assumption, or do I have a realistic source? Or can I speak to someone that I really trust to give me a second opinion? Tap into your extroverted intuition. What else could this mean? Because you have explorative function in this area, and E, you could also interpret it in a positive way as much as you can interpret it in a negative way. Remember, not every emotion needs to be held. Some needs to be released and reframed. Now, the last reason, number 3, you struggle with self-discipline. Let's talk about structure. This is my favorite topic with INFPs, and they don't necessarily like me for it because I have many experiences working with INFPs regarding their inferior function. You hate when people have rigid system. It has to be done in a certain way. There's a protocol, there is a framework, and you resist being boxed in. It doesn't feel right with me. Oh, there are other ways of doing it, and so for you to just base it off, 90% of the study shows that this framework is working. You're constantly just doubting it. You're always like, that's not how things works with me. That's just INFPs and ISFPs, by the way. So the truth is, you actually hate structure because it keeps you in this mindset that you are just stuck to that one path and you're not going to realize your potential, which is a very narrow way of thinking about things. There's a reason why extroverted thinking is called effectiveness. But of course, when TE is being overused, there's also a downside to it, right? So now, example, this is how it shows up for INFPs. Because when they're always constantly with their FI and they're attached to it, I feel bad today, I'm not gonna do my thing, although I've really planned for myself that every day I'm gonna clock in 1 hour for exercise. They just go with their FI so much that the structure just doesn't exist. And then they blame it out of external circumstances instead of just admitting to the fact that they struggle with self-discipline. They cannot stick to the plan despite how they feel. At the end of the day, INFPs, the dreamers, which is their nickname, right? They can come up with all the wonderful ideas. They can also become visionaries on what are the things that potentially people want in the world, that people would benefit from. They can have all these amazing, big ideas, but when there's no deadline and they have no discipline, it's just delusion. So what are some signs that this is showing up for you as an INFP that you could be struggling with would be you avoid scheduling and planning. So whenever someone, let's say you're in a workplace, you're collaborating on a team project, and then people are asking you like, hey, so when can I expect this? And then you're like, I'll come back to you. Oh, but this is depending on somebody else. You're always like dodging, not wanting to give a definite date or plan things in advance because you think that it's fixing you on a structure. That's just you showing that you are not committed or accountable to getting things done. It's very simple like that in the working world. I understand. I have a lot of INFPs telling me, or ISFPs, what's the point of planning when plans change in the end? Yeah, but at least having a plan is better than having no plans because at least people around know that there is a guide that you're working on which can be changed. I think Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this, right? Young people who don't know what they want in life, they don't have a plan. It's better to have a bad plan and then try it out, and at least you figure out that, ooh, this is a bad plan and now I will get a better plan after this. Accountability, responsibility, accepting the fact that you need to take action in order to be accountable for the next step, in order to become better. So when you avoid scheduling and you avoid planning, it just goes to show how committed you are on certain things. And deadline at the end of the day is what kind of keeps people's expectation and promises that some things are going to get done by a certain timeline. It helps everybody else as well. And then another sign is you wait for inspirations instead of creating habits or searching for one. You wait for the inspiration to come in. Like when you are doing a creative work, INFPs, ISFPs, you are amazing artists. You can create the most beautiful creation, art, work, or concept and content. But at the end of the day, when there's a deadline and there's an objective of achieving it, and there's a check-in that's supposed to be required for this project to be completed, this is when you're going to encounter situations where people are going to get frustrated with you because people are going to be like, so you said that this was going to be done 3 weeks ago, but you're still working on it. May I know why? And then most often your reply would be, because like, I'm still not inspired with this thing. Gosh, I can't. I really can't because I have so many experiences with the FP types on this that it's so detrimental to their progression. Okay, honestly, disclaimer. If you are INFP that is super successful, happy with your life, and you don't have any goals or things that you look forward to, ignore my video. But if you are one that is seeking growth, progression, more money in your account, wanting a managerial position, wanting to inspire people, influence people, I think you should really rethink about the things that I've just said. Finally, another signal, you know what you want, but you don't know what to do next. So this is when you don't look into researching and seeing what works outside and then taking actions and executing it. I think creating a gentle structure that is adaptable, nothing too rigid or detailed. So don't be so extreme in that sense. It's going to help you in some sense, and reframe yourself. You are your greatest enemy. Tell yourself that having a structure doesn't mean restriction. Structure tells you that you are accountable and that it can be changed. Use tools that are flexible. For example, it doesn't mean that you look at your ISTJ friend's schedule, it's every day, it's just meetings. Maybe yours could be very thematic. You know that at the first half of the day, you want to conceptualize, ideate, blah, 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 blah. But towards the end of the day, there's more actions, planning. So do a big mix of that. Be creative and adaptable with that. I'm sure if you go online and search for creative tools for planning, you will find some that will really help. It's not a matter of sticking to a rigid to-do list and a calendar for you to get things done. And actually, just remind yourself this, and this is what I tell all the FPs, INFPs. Discipline isn't the enemy of freedom. It's actually what protects your freedom. So INFPs, you're not struggling because you are broken or you're too lazy. You are struggling because your inner world is so rich because of your FI and NE. The outer world sometimes just feel dull and just so boring and structured that everything demands discipline. It just makes you want to stay in your own bubble. But at the end of the day, you are living in a world full of people. It's a collective conscious or unconscious. You are not living in your head. You are meant to bring those visions in your head and your values and feelings on your terms, but through actions. So ultimately, my advice to all INFPs, start before you're ready, set emotional boundaries, embrace gentle discipline. I guess because the world, as much as I bash INFPs, like I said, you are the change agent of the world. Similarly to INFJ, you make humanity believe in what we would want in the future or how we should feel and how we can become better. So sharing your ideologies, your concepts, your ideals is something that is going to inspire people, but without the actions or the structure, it's not gonna come to reality. So INFPs, comment below what truth hits the hardest for you today. If you have any experiences, different perspectives, please let me know. If you haven't already subscribed, I hope you will consider, because I intend to do a lot of MBTI related videos. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. And if you are interested in having a coaching session with me, you can find me on Instagram, DM, or TikTok. I will try to reply you as soon as I can. And if you would like to upgrade your personal style through MBTI, check out my Udemy course, the link in the description box below. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe so that you are updated on all my weekly videos. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.